Cats in the Cradle and the Silver Spoon, Little Boy Blue, and Harv on the Moon. Hey guys, this is All Black Earth Thang, the podcast where I talk about everything that's all black. I'm your host Harvey, and it is Wednesday, so we're going to talk about some black nerd content. So, last week I was just scrolling through the Netflix, trying to find something to watch, and I see the number 6 most popular movie on Netflix all over the world right now is a new Pokemon movie. And I said, they made a new Pokemon movie? I later learned that this was something that was anticipated. There was trailers. None of this was advertised or talked about around me. And to that I say, anybody who knows me and knew about this Pokemon that was coming out and didn't tell me or talk to me about it, your mom's a hoe. Because I am disgusted that I had to find out about it by happenstance. Gee willikers. At any rate, this new Pokemon movie titled Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, LMNOP. It is essentially the same movie that came out in 1997. Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. I was really excited to see something new, but I just watched the exact same film, basically. If you don't know anything about either of these Pokemon movies, these aren't spoilers because the first one came out in 1997. If you have not seen the 1997 movie, why are you unfortunate? And the one that just came out is the exact same movie. So it's, if you've seen the 1997 one, you've seen this new one that just came out. So in the 1997 version, it's like the first time we see Mewtwo, and Mewtwo is like, "Oh, I'm a Pokemon." He's really in his head. Mewtwo does not use his mouth. We only hear his thoughts. It's very Evangelion. This movie is like if Evangelion was about Pokemon, but named like Star Wars. That is what Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, is like. So it's very, Mewtwo's thinking in his head, he's like, "Whoa, I'm a Pokemon, why am I here? What is my purpose?" And then the humans are like, "You're here to serve us, nigga." And Mewtwo is like, "Nah, bruh, I don't serve nobody. I don't serve none of these hoes." And so he like blows up the science lab, and then he builds his own science lab in the same place that he blew up the science lab. That question was never answered. Who built Mewtwo's new lair? Did Mewtwo build his own lair? Questions that need answer. And so then Mewtwo is like, "I'm the most powerful Pokemon in the world. I need to fight the most powerful Pokemon trainers." And of course, Ash Ketchum is invited because he's the star of the show. And Ash Ketchum and a whole bunch of other teens risk their lives to come to this dang on Pokemon match, and they get there, and Mewtwo is like, "I am here to battle you." And the other teens are like, "You're a Pokemon, we gonna beat you up." And then Mewtwo wrecks their Pokemons, and he's like, "Hello, I just said I'm Mewtwo, I'm the greatest," and so forth and so on. And then you learn a lesson at the end. The new Pokemon movie, exactly the same. I wouldn't say it's a shot-for-shot remake, but like all the scenes are the same, but the cameras are in different angles, basically. And there might be some stuff taken out. Like in the newer one, the first few scenes are about how they found the DNA, the Mew DNA, to create Mewtwo. Whereas in the older version, they just told the story. So we get to see it actually happen in front of our eyes instead of them telling the story. Excuse me. I'm burping. I don't have anything in front of me like I planned. So I just want to talk about like a few things that I noticed. I went back and watched the original one so I could be prepared for this, and like I have a lot of questions that I did not have when I was 2 years old when this movie came out. Depends on the month. I might have been 3 years old. Let's talk about the structure of Mewtwo's lair on New Island. That's the name of it in the old one. In the new one, it's called Pokemon Island. I guess they were like, we gotta rename it for these kids, or else they're not gonna know what's going on. It's a different movie, you guys. We named the island something else. I just want to know, first of all, why is there so many steps? There's so many steps in Mewtwo's lair. Mewtwo only floats places, and then he got Nurse Joy there that he hypnotized. Couldn't he just float her somewhere? Why did he build any steps when he built this lair? Questions that need answers, because if he hadn't built those steps, little Pikachu wouldn't have been able to run up the steps to try to outrun his floating Pokeballs. But instead, he was just running all up and down his steps like they pay some bills, and they don't. I also, what I really would like to point out, there's a scene in both movies where original Mew, finds Mewtwo's lair and he sees the windmills, and he's bouncing on the windmills in both of them, which is a really cute moment. And when I watched the original just now, I said, wow, Mewtwo, even Mewtwo in his trying to figure out what his purpose is in the world, he cares about renewable energy, because there are windmills all over his lair powering his fortress. And it takes a lot of power because he has all those cameras everywhere, scouting out the best talent in the world. He has those big old TVs to watch it on. And I said, even the Pokemon know that renewable energy is the wave. Now, if we could just get some people who are in charge of science in the Western world to just watch Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back, Electric Boogaloo, maybe, just maybe, we could move somewhere. Maybe if DT, President DT, saw this film, he could be like, I think that's the way to really communicate with that man, is through cartoons. And maybe he'll be like, wow, the most powerful Pokemon in the world has windmills. I need some windmills so that I can be the most powerful Poke President in the world. Just my thoughts and opinions. If anybody knows DT, tell them to listen to this episode, okay? Another thing I want to ask a question about is Team Rocket. They followed Ash and them all around that palace, and how is it that Mewtwo is the most smartest Pokemon ever? He kidnapped basically Nurse Joy from wherever she was, and he just poofed her into his lair to hypnotize her. He, with just his brain, released the clones of the Pokemon when it was time. How did Mewtwo not know that Team Rocket was in the building? They're just walking around the palace. They're just going through his sewers, climbing up ladders that are unnecessary. Why are there ladders in the sewers of this place? Why are there sewers in this place? Pokemon don't pee. Mewtwo don't pee. Where does Mewtwo pee from? Mewtwo is naked all the time. We can see his whole body. Where does Mewtwo pee from? Nobody has the answer for that. So why are there sewers in his lair? Questions. There's way less exposition in the second one. I'm going to switch to talk about the second one. The second one, a lot of stuff gets skipped. Like at the end when Mew shows up and Mewtwo is like, oh, you think you're going to come up in my house and act like you the best Mew out here? No, sir. We going to fight. And then in the first one, Mewtwo says, I'm going to turn off all these Pokemon's special powers so that they can fight with their hands. And in the new one, he doesn't say that. The Pokemon are just slapping each other. They're just for no reason. So the creators were like, we gotta make it different. We gotta take stuff out so that The second Pokemon movie is like when you are in high school and you're like, I didn't do my homework. Let me get your homework, friend. And your friend is like, well, just change it up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's the same. That's what this new Pokemon movie is. So they're taking stuff out and they're just like, well, the millennials have already seen it. They know why this is like this. We don't need to explain it. All in all, I'm not sure how I feel about this new one. I think it entertained me. It made me feel nostalgic. If it would have came out as its own movie, definitely would have had many more questions. Definitely would not have been great. But I think the nostalgia factor of it and the fact that it came out on Netflix rather than coming out like in a theater, really just helped it become, a nice movie to watch on, a Thursday night. You guys, that's the end of this episode. This is All Black Earth Thang. I am your host, Harvey. You can find me on the internet, on Instagram, at Harvey the Bunny, all one word spelled correctly. You can also find me on Facebook, Harvey-the Melanin Goddess. Make sure you like my Facebook page to get updates on all the amazing things that I do. You can even find me on my website. My website, yes. simplyharvey.com. And on my website, you can get all the merch that you want. Oh, I have t-shirts, I have pins, I have hoodies, I have beanies, I have so much. Get you some. It's spring fashion time. So get yourself some cute stuff with the many sayings that I say. And it's Wednesday. I got to get you guys over this hump day with some great advice. And here's what I'm going to say. If you're trying to take over the world, make sure you have the program management skills that it takes to be successful. Bye.